story about the bulge in the Yellowstone Lake. And here's another story on Yellowstone. The supervolcano caldera is unzipping. This is pretty serious stuff. And we've been watching the increase in activity in the Yellowstone caldera since 2004. That's mentioned right here. And for those that have been following Project Black Star investigation, 2004 represents a time that the black star made its magnetic portal connection to our planet. That's when we've seen depletion, severe depletion of the northern ice sheets, particularly has to do with magnetite and induction and the heating up of Earth core. And this is the symptom that we're looking at. This big giant caldera is growing. It's pushing up and up and up. We saw in 2011 the lots and lots of earthquake activity that was focused more in Colorado, and now that is growing wider and wider and wider with these reports of Yellowstone, what's happening. Dutch Sense is following it very well. Look at all the flags that are going up in his reports. Repeated areas of seismicity that are in direct proximity to this gigantic caldera that's out here. This follows the report that the animals are leaving Yellowstone, and they're just seeing them heading for the hills, baby. And the animals, dogs, they're able to sense things that are beyond people's ability. And this is another warning indicator that those of you that are out there in that area, I believe that there's reason for you to, well, be making plans to evacuate this area actually. And if you make a comparison to my safe zone map, this is the safe area of the United States. This area is not safe. The New Madrid seismic zone is anticipated to become highly active after Yellowstone. So watch for the activity it's been moving this way already, but watch for this activity to increase too. And if you follow the United Knowledge, Lance, he's monitoring the big booms that are taking place in this area. And I believe that's related to the pressure relief mechanisms that the lava tubes, particularly, they run up through Oregon, they run down through Baja California, they run down through Texas. You're seeing more and more reports of seismic events down here in Texas, across Oklahoma. They're having 10 times the number of seismic events that they should be having. That's over the average for the last 100 years. And through the Dakotas, that was in 2011, 2012, across Wisconsin. And this area has also been experiencing the high amounts of seismicity. So whenever you look at this story and this zone here of activity, and you look at the safe zone map, remember that this map is taken from the Navy map of the future and from Edgar Cayce maps of the future. And he sees this happening out in the western part of the United States, the convergence of these calderas here bulging and then erupting. And that's the reason that these areas in my safe zone chart, this is downwind of that caldera. One breath of this pyroclastic flow is going to crystallize in your lungs and kill you. That's the reason that farther south is the safe zone area, and west of the Mississippi River Basin, the Missouri River Basin, and east of the Rocky Mountain Ridge. That's the reason that this small area here, especially in the Ozarks, my safe zone location is actually over in this area. And it's superior, in my view, to Missouri because you get closer and closer to this potential for the pyroclastic flow coming from the west coast. So the further south, lots of safe zone areas in Texas. Out here on the west side, where there are caverns and water supply, and you can get your survival group. Texas is excellent. It's even further south than the two nuclear power plants that are in this area. I expect those nuclear power plants are going to be shut down deliberately whenever the threat becomes closer and closer, and then restarted after the gigantic events that are going to lead to this scenario right here. So this follows my scripture work that America is about to be judged. It's going to be split in two, and then The Tabernacle of David will be picked up from the United States, set back over in the Middle East, and then the United States will be known as the coastlands. This is, look at all the coast here. If you go through Scripture, you see references to this place called the coastlands, and I believe that's what this United States is. Never again to be another superpower. The center of civilization and power and authority will be replaced back in the Euphrates Basin, where it's been forever. But this temporary period that we're living in now is very special to God, and it's about to come to end with this series of events that, well, look like that they're on the horizon. The Earth is showing, particularly the United States, is showing increasing signs of catastrophe, actually. Remember when you go out in the Pacific Ocean, you just saw these quakes down in Chile. We've been seeing them around over on the other side of New Zealand, highly active up in the area of Japan, but we have not seen the big shift in the tectonic plates in this Aleutian area right here. That's going to cause the earthquakes eventually, as this big giant pie plate continues to spin clockwise. Eventually something comes unhinged up in here in this entire area. If you look at the map again, you can see this devastation that's along this area, and I believe that has to do with the seismicity that's going to take place up in this area right now. You're seeing these Chile events, and I believe this is part of the Guerrero scenario that began in the 2012 orbit cycle. Then we saw a series of quakes moving down in this area, down into South America. So this is picking up from where the activity was in 2010 with the Chile quake, the 8.8. So this is being revisited. This area, like Japan, has been revisited, and the liquefaction taking place down in New Zealand, the Christchurch area. These three corners of the big pipe plate, highly active, and this is what is coming next. So not only are the tectonics working against the American coast, the west coast, also the bulging calderas around the world this is catching up to us. And the United States doesn't have volcanoes, like Japan and Russia, those areas where the relief mechanisms are in place. We have offshore volcanoes that are not yet active, so there's pressures building up and building up. And whether we're going to get the eruption here, or whether these lava tubes are going to continue to these lava tubes have plugs in them that are breaking, and it has to do with pressure. So if the pressure can be relieved offshore, perhaps this catastrophe can be relieved. But my view is that since we have these tectonic movements with the San Andreas Fault and this and that, then those pressure relief mechanisms are actually closed off because of the differential in the tectonics, the moving of the plates over here, so that the pressure is going to continue building up in the United States. Well, it looks to me like the United States is being prepared for judgment. We've been spared in this part of the world, but it looks like that's a mechanism to keep the Americans sound asleep. While their illegal war on terror, their Hitler-like activities continue in the Middle East, invasion after invasion, destruction after destruction, all for, in the name of democracy, things like that. And whenever we go to democracy in the Bible, we're going to find the dilution of if you go to Daniel chapter 2, you'll see there's a statue in the dream, Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Nebuchadnezzar is the gold head. The Roman Empire is the feet and the toes infiltrated with clay. That's democracy. All right. The theocracy with God-based government and a king, righteous king, is the way to go. That's the way things have been, and that's the way things are going to be. This democracy thing that's happening right here is about to be judged, and that's what I think it's leading up to, with the Americans being lulled to sleep, and then all of a sudden, boom, suddenly this stuff happens. So I think that the animals leaving Yellowstone, I think this is a precursor. This is a warning indicator for those of us who are awake. If you go to 1 Thessalonians 5, you'll see that the children of light, the sons of day, they do see the warning signs. They are able to make the adjustments. They are able to warn others. That's what I'm trying to do right now for you guys. But the sons of disobedience, they do not see it. They're frogs sitting in a warming pot of water coming to a boil, and the animals will all leave and the sons of disobedience will not. And that's what I think that is happening. This is a very important report, and this is what I see This story, I'm going to keep on doing running the investigation, look for more indicators, and provide this near the top of this newsletter, volume number 15, that's coming out on April the 10th. And there's another story that I'm going to be working on. This is how the newsletters come together, by the way, is information sent. This Don is our astronomer. He watches things. People send me stories, and then I work on them throughout the week. But this Benghazi talking point story, this is going to wind up being pretty important too. And I'm going to continue doing the research on this and bringing that to you as fully developed story by the time this newsletter is released next Thursday. And that's pretty much my report. Yellowstone, you guys watch out. I believe you need to be on if you guys are out west, in this area, Rocky Mountain Ridge and then south, this is the way that, I mean, if you wake up at the last second and decide you have to head for the hills, this is going to be the avenue that you're going to take down through this area. This gets you the safest to the safest zone the quickest. My personal view is that this area of the United States is going to be near the coast of this Mississippi, whatever you want to call it here, this new Gulf that's up in here. This area, I believe, is going to be the best. It has the most concentrated series of caverns, water supply, animals, wood as a resource for fuel, remote areas where you can get away from the Mad Max. This is a perfect place, in my view, to set up your safe zone, your survival group among the caverns that are here. That allows you to network with other people that are in a survival situation where if you happen to survive in this elbow, for example, up here, there's a chance that you can survive up in here, but who's going to be your survival buddies? Who's going to help you? The best survival efforts are going to be right here in the central part of the United States for those that live in America, my view. So that's my update on this Yellowstone alert. Watch for more of this stuff. The caldera is unzipping, is the way that it appears. In other words, increased seismicity and the area has been bulging since 2004, so the entire region is raising in elevation until the break happens. When the break happens, all that pressure, all that land mass goes down. And remember that the Earth core temperature is 1,800 degrees hotter than ever measured before. That was in 2013. And the 2013 lull period that I anticipated did not calm down. The volcanoes around the world continue erupting. These are more warning indicators that something is happening here. And Yellowstone, among the largest, if not the largest caldera in the world, it's been found to be 2.5 times larger than previously expected because of the extra activity that's going on there. So, you guys need to keep up with it. You guys live out west, and to run your own threat assessment, decide what you need to do for yourselves and your family, and then act accordingly. That's my update on the Yellowstone alert. See you guys next time.